Hi friends, I'm back. I set up my new light, but you can still see the reflection in my glasses. And from what I understand, unless the lights are coming in at side angles, this is the way it's going to be. These are my new frames. I picked them up this morning. They're blue on the side, and then they are tortoise shell around here with a little bit of a cat eye. And so it's muted tortoise shell with blue, browns, and creams. I really like them. They're very comfortable. Yes, I needed to get a new prescription. So let's put on some makeup, and as I'm putting on some makeup, I'm going to tell you part 6 of my story. My kids were in elementary public school. I did not put them in parochial school because we couldn't afford it. I wasn't able to, early on, I wasn't even able to afford to get diapers for my kids. That's the way it was. I used cloth diapers. It was like this for a lot of people back in those days. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Vitamin C, or it's called the e.l.f. C Bright Putty Primer C Illuminatrix. I'm really liking this primer. This is a sample that I ended up getting in Maggie's giveaway. It's yellow. It has a gentle smell to it, but I'm really liking the way that it feels on my skin. So I think, I'm not going to keep trying primers. My weakness is foundation and eyeshadow and mascara. Those are the 3 things that I end up, giving into. But I think when this little pot is gone, I'm going to purchase this, and this is going to be my primer. I love that there's vitamin C in it. I like it's almost like an extra boost from when I use Joseph's vitamin C Force serum. I call it the C Force because the stuff is amazing. I want to show you. Okay, I had some age spots on this side of my face, and they are almost gone just from using that vitamin C serum. These are going to be a little bit more tough because this is the side of my face that faces the window when I drive. And in the summertime, I drive a lot. So I'm looking for recommendations for sunscreen. Now, I cannot use a chemical sunscreen. It has to be a mineral sunscreen. And right now I'm looking at the Neutrogena sunscreen to get. But when I put it on, I've gone all these years without sunscreen on my face. Maybe that's why I have wrinkles today. But I have medium skin. My skin handles the sun really well. I left off with my kids were in public school. So my youngest daughter wasn't in school yet. She was, she was about 3 when my husband was traveling. So he was gone for 3 weeks, and then he was home for 2 or 3 weeks. And that was part of the divine plan, my divine blueprint. I did not want to live in this area. I wanted to move out of this area when I graduated from college. I wanted to get an apartment, even if I had a roommate. and I wanted to live close to where I was working, and I just wanted to keep advancing myself. I worked for a very small advertising agency, and I made hardly anything. I look back at it and I think, yeah, he saw something. He saw that we had a lot of capability, but we were fresh out of school and he wasn't willing to pay. Tart shape tape. I'm just going to put some concealer on too while I'm at it. But I met my husband, I told you, in that summer prior to graduating from college. And he lived in the area. He's not from this area. He's from the suburbs of Boston. Or was from the suburbs of Boston. And he got a job over here with the medical supply plant that opened up. So I did meet him in this area, which meant that if I was going to get married to him, I was probably going to have to commute. And that was part of the divine blueprint. And I struggled with that for a long time. Even after I got married, I struggled with, hey, I didn't want to live around here. Sometimes I consider myself the black sheep of the family because my family lives around here. But I had higher aspirations. I wasn't even planning on getting married at that point. I was like, no way, I want to see the world. So the girls are in public elementary school, the first two, when the third one was born. And now she's about 3. And my husband continued to do that job for about 2 years. When the current administration of our country decided that they were going to shut down government contracts. At the same time, they were going to shut down all of these military bases too. Little did I know that shutting down government contracts and shutting down military bases affected my husband, but also my future husband. But I didn't know this because I didn't know I was going to have a future husband. In the meantime, before all this happened, the public school system was looking into a curriculum that I had problems with. Somebody showed up at my doorstep with paperwork concerning this curriculum. And I called this woman up, didn't know who she was, and I said, I need more information. So ended up going to the meetings. And the consensus of this curriculum was that everything was open-ended. They were eliminating right and wrong. Now, when you become an adult and you have the ability to make choices because you're now an adult, I understand that. But when you're in first, second, kindergarten, first, second, third grade, and you're being taught open-endedness, the sky's the limit in what can happen. On the positive end, but equally on the negative end, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And I was really against this curriculum. And at the time, being a religious person, it was anti-God. Now, I don't think that public schools should honor just one belief system. They should honor all belief systems. All. Not pick and choose. So, for some strange reason, I was chosen. I had gone to these meetings to be the spokesperson for this curriculum. And it was a battle. I decided to pull my kids out of school and homeschool them. I umbrellaed with the state of New Hampshire to homeschool my kids. It was hard, but I set up a classroom in our basement. We had a family room, and then the other portion was cement. So I got all this free stuff. I got a free chalkboard. I got free desks. I mean, the group that I was in, it was a homeschool group. They would catch wind of all this freebie stuff, and I would just go and pick it up, including curriculums, used curriculums. I did have to purchase some of the curriculums. Now, here we are. We don't have any money, but I'm still painting my hand-painted clothing business, and my husband was doing really well at his job. So I could do this. He seemed to be on board with it. I use this color right here as my base. So getting back to what I was saying, my husband was on board. So I started homeschooling my kids. And now I had my oldest daughter. I believe I took her out in 5th grade. I took my second daughter out in 3rd grade. And then I had my 4-year-old. My youngest daughter was 4. And I taught my youngest daughter how to read. And my kids were excelling because we didn't have all this extracurricular stuff. It was the books. It was learning. I used hands-on things to, like, we did art projects, but we went outside. Like, I taught them calligraphy, and they would do their spelling words on a scroll that we made with 2 sticks and a long roll of, paper. We made scrolls, and they would do their spelling words in calligraphy. We made a paper mache globe and labeled all of the countries. We went hiking down trails and looked for animal prints, and we poured plaster in the prints, and then we learned about the animals. We did a lot of hands-on things, and as time went on, some of the parents wanted their kids to learn art, so we used the town meeting house, and we got permission, didn't have to pay for it, to do art classes there. And I taught art classes to all the students that showed up that were homeschooled. And then there was another mother that taught gym. And then one day, my husband came home from work and said, I lost my job. They shut down the government contract. They're keeping 20 people, the core people there, and they're letting all of us go. I have an opportunity to go work at this factory that's associated with the company, but it's dirty, and I don't want to do it. And I'm taking this chance to further my education and start my own business. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. But at the supper table that night, he burst into tears. I'd never seen him cry. And he just burst into tears because he had a family and I was home and I didn't have a full-time job. And I just kept telling him everything was going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's all going to work out. So he signed up with a program through his company to go back to school, collected unemployment. Over all the years that he worked for this company, he built up profit sharing. So he decided to take that and not roll it over. We didn't have any life insurance. And he paid off all our credit cards, our debt, bought himself a van, and started to go to school and started to work this job that he wanted to do on the side and started bringing home money. And I designed, because I was an artist and I was a graphic artist, I designed his business cards, I designed his t-shirts. I mean, it was a good time, but it was a scary time. And then one day, I noticed that he didn't look right. He didn't look right. And I asked him, if he was okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just tired. And he ended up coming down with a fever, a really bad fever, 104 to 105. I mean, I packed the blankets on top of him. I gave him ibuprofen and Tylenol, whatever, I can't even remember. I think it was Tylenol. I thought, okay, he's just got a really bad bug. And the kids were lying on him to try to keep him warm. And this went on into the next day. The fever wasn't breaking. So I got in touch with the doctor. We went to our family doctor and she said, this isn't good. We're going to have some tests done. And in the course of having the test done, he was shipped back up to his cardiologist to the same hospital. And he had bacterial endocarditis. So around the titanium valve, bacteria had built up. And that bacteria was Haemophilus afrophorus. I mean, I giggled when they said, no, that's what it's called. Haemophilus afrophorus. And it was bacteria that comes from your teeth. Now, whenever he would go and get a cleaning, he had to take antibiotics. Well, apparently, some of the bacteria slipped by the antibiotics and it attached itself to his titanium heart valve, which is a foreign substance in the body. And it began to eat away around his heart valve. So now he's back in the hospital. This happened again in the fall, but it was worse because it meant that he had to be on a strong antibiotic. So about 6 weeks he was on this. And when they took a flashlight and they shined it through his fingernail, so you could see it through here, you could see all these little red dots that had gathered to his extremities. That was this bacteria. So it pillaged his system. So he had to be on a heavy antibiotic drip so they could ensure that they would be able to kill most of this. And once they killed it, then they were going to do surgery and take that valve out, clean it out, cut all the tissue. Now, this is the third surgery on the same valve. Thank God the other valve didn't malfunction that I didn't know anything about. Well, I ended up finding out about it. And they were just going to put that valve back in once they had everything. Can you imagine having your chest cut open 3 times? 3 separate times? So this was very serious. And in the meantime, now my kids, I could homeschool them. Again, in the divine blueprint plan, because I could homeschool them anywhere. So I took them with me to the hospital, and they did their schoolwork there. And then my in-laws were so good. They were so good through every surgery that I was married to my husband. And so was my family. I did mostly commuting. Every day I commuted because now, I had a little bit of money. What little money we had from my husband was no way going to cover that hospital bill. And I'm like, well, if worse comes to worse, I'll just put up my house for collateral and we'll move into an apartment. No, I think I'm going to use this color in my crease. And I'm not going to go way, way high up like I normally do. I'm going to try to just keep it in my crease. I'm using the Lorac Pro Palette Fairy Tale Forest. So anyway, he made it through this surgery with flying colors. However, he was very weak. The cardiologist surgeon pulled me aside. Now, this surgeon did the second surgery plus his third surgery because while I was married to my husband, he was not going to a Boston hospital. He was going to a New Hampshire hospital, the big one for the state of New Hampshire. The first one was in Massachusetts. The cardiologist pulled me aside and said, well, he made it through. We cleaned everything up. He's going to have to stay on antibiotics for another 2 months because we want to make sure that there's absolutely no bacteria in his body. But Susie, you need to know that we didn't have a lot to work with. Every time that he has had surgery, we've had to cut that tissue out. And this time, there was very little tissue to work with, but we did the best that we could to get that valve, hooked up. The valve, as the heart pumps, opens and closes like a flap. But this titanium valve, it did that, but it would click. When they took it out and then put it back in, they had to cut all this rotted flesh that the bacteria had eaten. So they didn't have a lot to work with, but they did it. And they basically said some prayers and hope for the best. I stressed out about paying this bill so badly that I had gone home with the kids that night. And we were commuting 2 hours up, 2 hours back. And put the kids to bed, and I went to bed, and I tossed, and I turned, and I tossed. I saw the sun come up. And something happened. I finally said to it was a spiritual experience. I said, I can't do anything about this. I am letting this go. And I am not going to worry about it. I give it to you, God. You take care of it, and I'm going to go from there. And I felt my shoulders, I felt it lift off my shoulders. Literally lift. So I got the kids, I slept in a little bit that day because I was exhausted. And I got the kids ready and told them to gather their school books and all of that, straight to the financial department before I went upstairs to visit my husband. And I said, I want to fill out some paperwork because I'm not going to be able to pay this bill. We don't have any insurance. And back then, I don't know what it's like now, but you couldn't just walk away from a hospital bill. And I said, I'm willing to put my house up for collateral. So if I can't pay this bill, you can take my house and sell it. So I had filled out all the paperwork and I gave it to the woman, and we went upstairs. And while I was visiting my husband, I wasn't even in that room for 5 minutes. And the phone rang. And I picked up the phone. And this man said, I'm looking for Peter. And I said, well, he's right here. He said, well, I'd like to talk to him if you don't mind. And I said, sure. So I handed him the phone, and, he's a man of little words, and he gets off the phone and he said, Susie, we're not going to have to pay the hospital bill. The job that he had, there were still 20 people left at that job. And when they found out that my husband had to have another open heart surgery and we didn't have any insurance, somehow, by a glitch, his name was never taken off the insurance. So the company was paying their portion. And somebody there of the 20 went in to look and realized that there were several back premium payments that had not been taken out of a paycheck because he was gone. He wasn't getting a paycheck anymore. So they all pitched in and paid all those premium payments, back pay, to get him up to snuff so that they could submit the bill, which I was to give them when my husband came home. They wanted all the bills, and they were submitting them to the insurance company because on the books, he was still on the insurance. Either somebody made a mistake, or somebody forgot, or you let your mind wander here. I ran down to the financial office in tears of joy, but it was like when I turned this situation over and said, look, can't think about this anymore. It's yours. Take it. I'm letting it go. I'm going to do what I can, and I'm letting it go. We're talking 30 years ago, over $100,000. And this also included other bills. That would be, him going to doctor's appointments and things. When I got the paperwork, every piece that came to my mailbox, 0.00. And I'm going to leave it right there. He came home to the local hospital, had to stay there for 3 weeks. And he was home for Christmas, but he had to walk around with a pole and an antibiotic drip and I will pick up on part 7 at another time, and let's finish up the makeup. So this is all I'm putting on for eyeshadow. I'm going to use my Lancome stick foundation, but check it out. That's all I have left. This is my favorite foundation. Okay, and this is in 320 Bisque Warm. This is my all-time favorite foundation. I would order the liquid foundation, but I don't really want to pay that kind of money right now. But that's one of my plans, is to get their liquid. I love the stick, but the liquid lasts longer than the stick. This is just so convenient. And this is how I put it on. And so I'm going to buff it in with my Laura Geller foundation brush. This is an amazing, amazing foundation brush. And if you go to Laura Geller today, because there were technical issues, she's giving everybody 55% off plus an extra 5% off with the code Cinco for Cinco de Mayo, because that's when they had their technical issues and people were getting charged when they shouldn't have been. So she's doing it for everybody. And so yeah, go over to Laura Geller's site and see, maybe there's something over there that you would like. Also, what I would like to tell you guys is, if you don't want to join the Gingiberri Jewelry event on Instagram, all the information is down in the description box. Till Mother's Day, they're having a buy one, get one. Go down into the description box and check it out. And you can also use my code Susie15 for an additional 15% off. I'm going to use the Revolution multi-stick. One side is a highlighter and one side is a blush stick, because we're doing easy today. And this is a cream blush. And by golly, it goes on really nice. So can you guys tell that I'm not at the window? I'm not at the window anymore. My trusty old little mini Makeup Revolution bronzer. I'm looking into the cream bronzer because, you know, I'm willing to try some things. I like the smell of this. Or maybe it's my brush. Going under my chin. Now, if you have fair skin, see, on me, you can't really tell because I have medium skin. But if you have really fair skin, go easy when you go around the jawline and make sure you bring it down and blend it really well. Just a suggestion. Maybe you like that sharp look. I mean, we're all different, right? So I will pick up where I left off. Part 7, to tell you guys, is this little gem right here. I purchased these on Amazon. They stick on. I sleep with it on. And it stays on. Sometimes it comes off because I don't know what I'm doing in the middle of the night. Maybe I'm rubbing my nose. But I haven't had one fall off yet during the day. I'm contemplating getting a nose ring. I want a diamond stud. So that's why I bought these. Somebody recommended that I do that, and it was really a smart thing to do. I will be back with my eyebrows done and my mascara on. And we'll call this video a wrap. These are great. I got them on TEMU. They're great. And according to Wayne, if you put less foundation on, Wayne Goss, and you really buff it into your skin, and then you powder, your skin will look like skin. But, you know, I like that baking technique. I know people don't do it anymore, but I really like it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, whatever, la 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 la. Whenever I wake up, do 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 do, I say a little prayer for you. There are other songs. I mean, you want me to sing some rock and roll songs? I can do that. They come to my mind and I'm like, oh, I should sing that song to my YouTube soul family. And then it goes out of my mind. I need to write it down. If I don't write it down, see, I got makeup in my hair, but I'm washing my hair tonight. I figured out a way to get that out, too. Woo-wee! Woo-wee! Baby! Woo-wee! Baby! All right, friends. We're going to call it a video. And I got my little remote here. Watch. You ready? You ready, Eddie? I need my glasses. Excuse me. Tell me in the description if you like my glasses. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Na 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 na. Okay, let me change. Let's see what happens. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Whoa! Woohoo! Yeah, baby. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. That was fun. That was fun. What did I have you on? I think I had you on that. All right, everybody. The old man is home. Better get off. So I'll talk to you when I do my other video. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up here and do it tonight. Yes, 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 yes. Woo, 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 woo. I love you. Until next time, bye-bye.